Here we are, tasting wine with Pete and Dave.
How are you, Dave? A red letter day, as I was just saying before, in Canberra today, there's this wet stuff falling from the sky.
Yeah, what is it?
I don't know. Is it? What are you saying? Henny Penny said the world's about to end. Other people might say it's rain, but we haven't seen it for so long here in Canberra.
Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
The sky is falling, yes. They might call it rain. So
Don't see too much rain here in Canberra, do we?
Well, not in the last little while, no. We've seen lots of 38-degree days. But
yeah.
Cooler today and a bit of wet stuff outside, so that's
Absolutely. We got a nice little lineup here, too.
What have we got here?
We got an Aussie, we got a Kiwi white wine. Guess what it is, Pete?
Late harvest rosé. Maybe not. Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, but this is a bit of a star, isn't it? We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah. Now the Cuisine magazine, as many viewers might know, is one of New Zealand's top cuisine and wine magazines.
Yeah, food and wine magazines. I think they probably got the best reputation of all the publications we see here. Anyway, so.
And I've raved on about Mudhouse for a while. I mean,
generations even.
I was introduced to them in New Zealand, and the winemakers at the time really knew what they're doing, and I think they've carried on that tradition at Mudhouse. They're located all over New Zealand, in Central Otago with their Pinot Noirs, and Marlborough for the Sauvignon Blancs, and of course Hawke's Bay.
Aren't they? Are they based in Marlborough? The winery's based there, but they get fruit from other premium places as well. Yeah. But anyway, so this one was the top wine in the Cuisine magazine tasting.
Absolutely, number one.
That's pretty impressive. Out of well over 100 different wines, for a wine that's not too expensive really to do that. So this should be pretty fun to try.
Mudhouse,
new 2013 as well, isn't it? That's the new one.
Yeah, and I understand that the winemaker, and I'll get you to put that on that side, Pete. The winemaker's an Aussie girl.
Yeah.
Slip that over on that side there. Yeah, there you go. So just so you can see the label.
Very good. No,
she's an Aussie girl.
And I think she's done 7 or 8 vintages there. So obviously they've got something going that's pretty special there. And to
Nadine,
come up with that, Nadine Worley.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah.
That's definitely a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, no mistaking that. But yeah, it does what Marlborough does so well. It jumps out of the glass at you, and it's got all of those gooseberries and nettles and things.
Passion fruit, melons.
Yeah.
Wow. The first thing I get on the palate there, Pete, it's just so round in the middle palate.
Yeah, so fleshy. A lot of the ones we've seen, even from 13, which is a gun vintage, a lot of the ones we've seen recently are a bit disjointed. They don't have that length and the follow through, and they don't have the fleshiness on the middle palate. But this has got all of that.
Yeah, and as I have said, and some of the other Sauvignon Blancs that we've tasted, some of the really good ones, I get some of that real rich. In fact, I'm still getting it through the palate. There's real rich, sort of almost grapefruit and those sort of characters. It's just a lovely characteristic.
It's an interesting thing too. There's a sensation of creaminess on the palate. Now, if you say that to people normally, they think, oh well, it must be oak, it must be Chardonnay. But there's just an element of creaminess about it, just the vitality and the vibrancy of the fruit. And then you get these really long flavours. Like they go on and on and on. Yeah.
And that's amazing. Nice balance of acid there as well.
Yeah, plenty of clean acid, lots of upfront fruit, and then that sort of really rich textural mouthfeel, which you don't always get in Sauv Blanc, and then a really long finish. So that's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Good old Sauvignon Blanc.
You talk about a cold beer on a hot day. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a cold beer that's going to be as interesting as that.
Yeah. And I just love the way this Sauvignon Blancs, those New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs go with seafood. I do enjoy my seafood, so it's just a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Now, I think we've tasted this one before some time back, this Lovers Not Tourders.
Oh, right.
Now, this is a Spanish Tempranillo.
Yep.
And this is made up in the Ribera del Duero.
Yep. Okay, so that's the high country. You don't often see affordable examples of wine from Ribera del Duero because, it's pretty fashionable. It's cultish, and they make good booze up there. But it's very high. You don't sort of realise it's higher than anything that we have in Australia by comparison. It's northern Spain, quite a long way inland.
Almost up to the Pyrenees, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a long way from the coast. It's very much your prototype of a continental climate. And
so they'd have a real dry sort of growing season, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
And
they
the
do.
autumn of the year would be very dry as well.
And the long hang time, as the winemakers,
Cool
the grape
evenings?
growers, the great grape growers talk about a long hang time for the grapes. So you get cool evenings, and you can leave the grapes on the vines later into the season to get properly ripe flavours, and you're not getting portiness then.
Wow. No, and wow, there's so much fruit there up in the front of the palate.
Very, very savoury, very spicy, almost like cinnamon and stuff like that.
Yes, and
all
then
sorts
that
of
spice.
things.
Yeah, that spice comes through. But then there's some real nice integration with the oak. I just get that in the mouthfeel as well, and it's just such a balance. It's really, really beautiful. I really enjoy that. And
you're getting that tannin kick that is characteristic of Tempranillo.
Yep.
And you're really feeling, well, yeah, that needs protein.
Yeah,
but if you
say that, go great with a nice steak.
Absolutely.
And some of the dishes I can remember in Spain, these dishes that they put the beef on the spit and turn and turn and turn, and they just cut it off as it cooks, and
you can see why this sort of wine works so well.
And they'd have these creamy sauces they would put on as well, and I could just imagine that. It makes my mouth water. Just
I'm hungry thinking. No, that's a good drink. That very good.
All right. We're going to come back home here, and I got some Killicanoon. This is the Kevel's Flock. This is a 2012 Barossa Shiraz.
Okay. Interesting that, because Killicanoon is a McLaren Vale winery, but obviously they've sourced fruit from the Barossa for this one. And 2012, pretty good vintage. I mean, we don't know yet how good it could be. A lot of people are saying positive things about it, but they're all pretty young wines at the moment.
Wow, lots of fruit there, and some nice oak character comes through on the nose as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, a bit of that savoury sort of element that you like in a big red, so that it doesn't just come across as being a big fruit bomb. So.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. That beautiful Shiraz fruit right up front of the palate. The dark berry and a bit of zing there. I think there's a
bit of acid.
Yeah,
a bit of acid
some nice acid.
Palate. Quite appealing, sweet, fleshy fruit on the palate as well.
Yep, but then it's got a nice kick of tannin at the end.
A nice little lick of tannin.
And that's a well-balanced sort of a wine.
Yeah, it is. It's I guess a good advertisement for 2012. They're saying that there are good things going to happen from the top end of this stuff when the wines finally come on stream, and that would lead you to think, well, okay, it's worth keeping an eye out for the heavy hitters when they come on stream in the next year or two from 2012. But
wow.
Yeah, I mean, these guys always make good wine. Kevin Mitchell, the winemaker, they make a lot of different labels at Killicanoon, and really, you'd be hard pressed ever to find a bad one. They do great things with Shiraz. They even do good things with Cabernet, which is not altogether common in that part of the world, and they do great things with Riesling as well.
I've never been disappointed with their Shiraz, that's for sure. No. And speaking of big hitters, we got the Gibson, the Dirtman Barossa Shiraz. Now, this is 2012 as well.
Yep.
Now, I don't know this wine very well, Pete, so maybe you can enlighten me.
Yeah, this guy's one of my favourite winemakers. Rob Gibson, he's a former viticulturist at Penfolds. Knows his stuff, obviously. His career has been basically looking after old vines and that sort of thing, and that's why they call him the Dirt Man, because he spends his time out in vineyards getting his hands dirty. But it's all about the soil, it's all about the grapes.
Oh, so this is named after him then?
Yeah, this is his, he's the Dirt Man. So, and that's that's got fabulous lifted, really sweet berry fruit, but there's some savoury, again, bit of spice in there, some charcuterie characters, like really interesting spice meat, smoked meat characters. A lot happening at a young age for this wine. It's only just recently come on the market, I think.
Wow. Wow. That's brilliant. That just really fills the palate up, and you get a different sensation with the fruit, the sweet fruit right up front, and then immediately after that, palate fills in.
Oh yeah.
And you get that spiciness that comes through there.
Yeah.
And the length is it just keeps coming.
It's got great length. It's got a really characteristic Barossa element to it. Like, it's one of those wines that you become familiar with the top makers and what they do from the Barossa, and sometimes there's a little bit more oak in it, a bit more oak than you really want, and it can get in the way of the fruit. But here the fruit speaks for itself. There's oak in there, but it's pretty understated. And it's just that classical Barossa Shiraz character. You'd go a long way to find, I guess, a better example of really classic, typical Barossa Shiraz. That's just a beautiful drink.
Yeah, wow.
All the things that the Barossa does so well, and all the reasons why people have loved it for so long.
Pete, you know, that would really set a nice piece of meat off. Yeah, just absolutely goes so well. But you know, this sort of wine I can drink just on its own,
absolutely,
without anything at all. Just because it's got so much there. It just seems like I'm still getting different characteristics.
Oh, and
coming
it changes
through.
as well. Yeah, it changes. But in saying that, there's not too much of anything. Like, it's big, it's rich, it's dense, but it's perfectly balanced. Beautiful flavours, beautiful balance, and just a quintessential Barossa Shiraz. It just really is what the Barossa's all about. Great drink.
And what would you say would develop in that over some time? I mean, this to me would be the sort of wine that I'd like to put in my cellar and see how.
It's a sort of wine that you could say, okay, you had a couple of 6-packs of it. You'd think, all right, well, I'll drink a little bit of it now while it's still in its vibrant youth and that sort of thing, and then let it go to sleep for a little while, and you just pick up a bit of earthiness, a bit of chocolate, maybe some tarry characters as well. But this would easily keep for another 10 years.
Yeah.
And it would, it's going to just keep on giving for all of that time. But the big problem would be, if you had a dozen bottles of it, is like you'd find all of a sudden after the first 2 years that there appeared not to be many left. That would be the problem in my place.
Yes,
so actually keeping them for that length of time to see what they do in the cellar would be the challenge.
Yes, yeah.
No, that's a great drink.
Wow. That was really great.
It was.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate. No problem.
See you again next week.
You will.